lives a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun. What's up, gang? Welcome to Room and Board. My name is Chris George, and today we are taking a look at Rising Sun. Why? Because it's amazing, and I love it. Spoiler alert. The gods are angry, as most gods tend to be. And it's up to you, the head of a sacred clan, to bring honor back to feudal Japan the only way you know how. Forging alliances, praying to the gods, and killing yourself if it doesn't look like a battle is going to go your way. This is Rising Sun, and it's so good. At the beginning of the game, everybody chooses a different clan and gets access to their own awesome clan ability, with the goal of having the most points at the end of 3 rounds, referred to as seasons. You may have heard of them: spring, summer, and fall. Points can be earned in a number of different ways, with generally the majority of these coming from winning wars in different provinces over the course of the game. At the beginning of each season, you and the other incredibly honorable heads of clans will sit down and have a very civil tea ceremony where you'll beg, barter, or threaten your way into an alliance. Once those alliances have been forged or rejected, the season begins. On your turn, you'll draw 4 political mandate tiles. These are the possible actions you can do, and you'll pick one. That's it. Everyone gets to take this action, but you and your ally, if you have one, get to take a little bonus action located on these handy-dandy player aids. You can recruit people on the board or send them up to pray to give you bonuses later on. You can move people around. You can harvest the land and get rewards, or buy cards to get different powers or monsters. Or you can forget all of that and betray your alliance. Lose honor, splitting the 2 of you up for good to take an action of replacing figures on the board that only you get to take. But all of this is building up to the war phase, where you'll fight over the provinces drawn at the beginning of the season. Using the coins you've managed to scrape together over the round, in each battle you'll secretly bid on advantages that can turn the tide completely. Now, this is where a lot of people get annoyed with Rising Sun, but I think it's brilliant. And to be honest, this is probably the biggest test as to whether or not you'll like the game, if you like this battle system. Because it's not just about who has the most strength in a province going into it, it's how you navigate these battle advantages. If your opponent has spent all of their coins on a really cool, badass monster, well, you can just take that monster hostage, depriving its owner of its scary monster strength. Or, if you bid the most on the Ronin section, you get the privilege of hiring all the mercenaries you managed to collect throughout the season and making them fight for you, adding their strength to yours. There is so much more to this battle system than just, well, I bought a really cool scary monster, so I want to win. You have to have the foresight to protect your troops as well, because clever tactics are better than strength alone. In addition, after every battle, the coins that the losers bid get discarded, but the coins that the winner bid get divided amongst the losers as war reparations. So sure, you can bid 7 coins, and you'll probably win this one battle, but then your opponent has your 7 coins, which she can use to destroy you for the remaining 4. This makes every decision incredibly tense and turns each battle into an epic mind game. Well, I could bid 1 coin, but my opponent knows I'll bid 1 and will bid 2 to beat me, so I should bid 2 because I have the higher honor and will win in a tie, but I know she knows I should bid 2, so she's probably going to bid 3, but I don't want to bid 3 because I want to have coins for later, so I will bid nothing, and she'll bid 3, and then at least I will get her 3 coins, unless she bids just 1. Well, then I should bid 1. So, what are you going to bid, huh? This makes every decision matter, and when you correctly predict what your opponent will do, it feels invigorating. Or you could negotiate a deal where you help them win now and they help you win later, and you both can maximize your points. In theory, this is a good thing, and is the smart thing for both of you to do, but there's always that chance that one of you will betray the other. And those moments before you reveal your bids, when you're putting your trust into your enemy across the table, is like the world's most satisfying trust fall. Because when you're both telling the truth, it's momentous. And if one of you is lying, well, it's also pretty momentous. This creates a game that is filled with moments and things that you can remember long after a particular gaming night session is done, and creates a sort of history that grows deeper and deeper every time you play. With the Dynasty expansion, you have 8 clans to choose from, including the Kickstarter exclusive Fox clan. Now, if you don't have the Fox clan and you want to play it, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on eBay. Here's a little tip. Just use another clan as the replacement pieces. But that means, of course, you have to rely on someone to show you what the clan ability is, and what their seasonal income might be, and also what province they start in. It's orange because it's the Fox clan and they're orange, and that's the only other province that, because each clan starts in a different province. If only someone would slip up enough to show you this exclusive Kickstarter exclusive information. Don't get it off eBay. Just use a substitute. Anyway, with so many clans to choose from, even having played this game upwards of 40 times, that still means I'm only averaging each clan about 5 times, which does keep the game fresh and gives me something continually to look forward to and adjust my strategy with. On top of that, it also feels really different at different player counts. With 3 or 5 people, there's always going to be that one person who doesn't get into an alliance. And also with 3 people, everybody gets significantly more turns, more times to choose a political mandate, because the amount of turns don't change even at different player counts. And at 4, everyone's pretty much guaranteed to be an alliance because you will rarely go it alone. It's too beneficial to not want to be an alliance. But this makes certain seasons cards that focus on alliances potentially more desirable. Because yeah, there are different seasons cards you play with every time. And there are different kammis, the gods, that you can go up and pray to every time. The amount of replayability in this game is fantastic, which is great because that's something I generally put as one of my high priorities. Now, as much as I love this game, and you may have noticed, it's quite a bit, this won't be the game for everyone. I mean, this isn't the literally beloved by all classic Don't Wake Daddy. Now that's a game. When playing Rising Sun with my parents at the beginning of each move, they would inevitably mutter to themselves, "Oh, this is complicated." There are a lot of moving parts, and if you are newer to the hobby, this may not be the game to jump right into. Then again, my parents say that about everything, so jump away if you think it looks cool. And while the game does have a lot of room for negotiation, it's perhaps not in the way the rulebook might lead you to believe. One part of the rulebook, when I first read it, that really intrigued me was that it emphasized that at any moment, at any point in the game, you could give someone a coin to tempt them to do something for you, or a Ronin to tempt them. I thought, yeah, that's cool. What's even better is they're never bound by this deal, and could just take your coin and not do the thing that you agreed upon, which I think is hilarious. But then you're burning your game for a moment of hilarity, which might be worth it. Probably is. The concept that deals are never binding and the allure of the constant exchange of resources was probably the primary reason why I ended up backing this game. This was the first Kickstarter that I ever backed. But it turns out that coins and Ronins are such valuable resources that opportunities rarely come up when the bribe will be worth it. So if it was that element of negotiation that excited you, I would temper that expectation. Negotiation primarily happens over temporary alliances, either formed by the tea ceremony or not, that inevitably boost 2 players and subsequently punish a different one. It's not necessarily a game of take that, but in war, there's someone who always loses. This can be especially bad if you're playing with jerks who only ally with each other and continually pick on and squash that one player. So if your friend group is prone to this sort of thing, this may not be the game for you, and you may want to get a different friend group. Now, I don't mind this aspect of the game because I find that it works more of as a catch-up mechanic or a handicap against better players. Generally, if I'm playing an odd-numbered game, I will probably be without an alliance member for about 2 seasons, because usually I'm the one who has the most experience. For sure in the first one, I'm not going to have an ally. And that's fine, because there's always the chance later on for me to catch up. and for one person to be clearly in the lead, and then they're the one who is without an alliance. This is a large element of balancing the game, and I think it works quite well, but there are definitely people out there who don't enjoy that sort of thing, and if you are one of them, then I would say that Rising Sun may not be the game for you. One other big complaint about this game is that the Kickstarter version, which is showcased in pretty much every review, has so many upgraded components that it makes the retail version feel like a bad deal in comparison. Because yeah, I have to agree that the upgrades are really nice, but for the most part, they aren't necessary. The reminder markers turn into flags to make it a little bit easier to see across the table when battles are coming up. So there's that, but not having them isn't a big deal. The Ronin and Mandate markers become plastic instead of cardboard, but these also don't really make that big of a difference. Same with the Alliance markers. They're gorgeous and they feel really nice, but from a gameplay perspective, these things don't matter and shouldn't affect the joy you get from playing the game. The main gripe I have, and what I think is lacking from the retail version, are the strongholds. While the Kickstarter have these 3D models for all the clans, the retail version comes with these cardboard chits. And it's not that they're cardboard versus plastic, which makes them a bad choice, but they actually do affect the gameplay a little bit. The turtle strongholds count as one force and can move across the board. That's their ability. And when they're three-dimensional, it's easy to see them in combination with a lot of the monsters and the figures that are on the board. But when you have them flat on the board, they can be missed. And that has the potential to affect the gameplay because you may think they're not involved in a battle when turns out they really are. Honestly, this is a minor inconvenience at best, but it would have been really nice for CMON to include at least little standees that the strongholds could go into to make them a little bit more noticeable on the game board. Now, at $110 Canadian, which is about $100 US, this is an expensive game. I think whenever you break that $100 price point, which more and more board games are doing nowadays, you'd better be getting a good experience, and one that won't grow stale over the course of numerous plays. I know I'm very budget conscious and will continue to be budget conscious when I put out any review, because I personally don't have a lot of money and I want to make sure that you're getting your best value for your dollar. I really don't want you to be disappointed if I recommend a game and it's expensive and you go out and buy it. Luckily with Rising Sun, I don't think you will be. Like I said, I've played about 40 to 50 games of this and I'm still always looking forward to playing it again. If you like the things that I mentioned previously, emphasis on negotiation, backstabbing your friends at exactly the right moment, the opportunity to not only outthink, but when that fails, outbluff your opponents, using every social trick at your disposal to come out on top, I think you'll really like Rising Sun. I think this game is the perfect encapsulation of one of Eric Lang's philosophies when designing a game. I'm paraphrasing, but I've heard him mention this, where he says that he wants his games to be primarily interactive. There's a reason that you can take that giant monster hostage, just as there's a reason you can maybe convince that person not to. If you like to interact with your opponents and through that interaction create ways to come out on top, this is absolutely a good game for you. If you prefer a more insular experience, one where you're competing to solve a puzzle in a better way than your friends, then maybe not so much. But the variable player powers are awesome. I have a great time with every clan. And even though alliances have huge benefits, you can absolutely win without them. But for me, here's the bottom line. Rising Sun is a masterpiece. It is a tense, epic game where your relationships around the table matter almost as much as your pieces on the board. Filled with alliances and power plays that ebb and flow like the Sea of Japan, Rising Sun gives you a dynamic, rich, beautiful experience that only gets deeper the more you play. I've never read The Art of War, but after Rising Sun, I feel like I've played it. Now here at Room and Board, we've got your standard seal of approval and a seal of distinction for games that stand out amongst the rest. Sometimes you come across a game that is truly magical, that truly embodies the joy of our hobby, that's inspirational, truly deserves its America's Got Talent moment. 4 times a year, I can push this buzzer and send a game straight to the top. Baby, you got the goods. Rising Sun, best game of the year. Best game of 2021, because that's when I'm recording this. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because it really helps me and you won't even remember you did it. Until next time, I'm Chris George and I don't have a catchphrase, so.
This is a fart.
That's what it's like without the music. A little less epic. Bye!